Okay. Welcome to the Maul or Nothing YouTube episode where you're obviously watching this. Now, all we need you to do before this episode starts is click the bloody link below which says subscribe. So make sure it ends up in your inbox or your message box or whatever it is. It just finds itself to you. Do not forget to subscribe.
More or Nothing.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Maul or Nothing with Ryan and Max. Maxie, you've made it into work an hour early, effectively. How does that feel?
Slightly sooty, gentlemen. Slightly sooty. But we're here. We're here and we're live and we're talking code with two of the finest gents in the sport.
Mate, Pat's gonna walk in a minute, but what the fuck's going on here, mate? Why is it early?
Oh,
Are you lost? Did you leave?
What's happened here?
Have you slept here the night?
Have you slept here?
Yeah, I'm just sleeping bag in the corner.
Just for the listeners and viewers at home, though, let's not forget that I know the traffic was bad, but you're late again. We've got to keep up with it because people are throwing in the fines. They're getting heavier. They're getting stronger. The questions are up there.
I've had them all. Bro. Hit me with it. Court session. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it.
I've really, maybe we shouldn't really be divulging this, but we're obviously looking for a person for our social media currently, and we've had some really, really good applications. But one I really made me laugh was the chap who said that he referenced how his timekeeping against Max's. He was like, "I'm always on time."
Yeah, on his job application, he even referenced how shit timekeeper you are and how good he was.
That's not much, though, is it? Really?
No. But yeah. Oh, by the way, to everyone that has messaged, thank you very much, and we will get back to you. I haven't had a second because there were so many good candidates. But don't worry, Max. Myself and Mark are working through them. We're about to find ourselves a very good social media exec. We'll see how that helps us, but. Yeah, there was some funny applicants actually, wasn't there? Yeah,
very, very, very good. And also, must thank everybody for getting the questions in as well. We'll start throwing them about once we've found out what the boys have been up to. But there's some really good ones. I love the form. I hope everybody else who's been answering their questions enjoy the form. There are some good answers. I've a feeling. I know Ryan's been on that. Max, have you looked at it?
No, not yet.
Hold on. Sorry, you've got a feeling that I was on there. I'm hoping you've not just got a feeling. The fact that my safe word was dildo.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, good. Okay. But where can they get it, Mark? Let the people know where they can get it because they need to get over there.
Yeah, so in our Instagram and on our YouTube feed, YouTube channel rather, there is a link tree in there, and there's a link. Just click on the one that says "Ask us a question," and with that, you will get the chance to ask us anything, and we will be asking all of those questions. I chucked in a couple of bonus rounds, such as people's safe word. It's always nice to know, do you know what I mean? In case some of the guys come on the show, we do the live show, we need to know, you know. There's a couple that are very funny, and also some potential fines. And again, there's been some very good thinking from the people who've answered in our Google Doc, in our document, and our questionnaire. So a huge thank you to everyone. But let's start with, I don't know, Max, are you ready to start with how your weekend has been, or should we just get Ryan's out of the way first, and then that gives you enough time to, bearing in mind you've just come into work at 7:30 in the morning, to just breathe out and breathe in. So,
well, without getting too much into it, I suppose we'll get into it. We obviously lost to the Saracens Accord from St Albans. Then the weekend was spent sort of licking my wounds. Sunday, big DIY day.
Oh,
big old day on the tools, boys.
Here we go.
Andre, get Andre on the phone. Andre Esterhazen. Are you into DIY?
But man, doors are hard. So we're trying to get the exposed wood grain. So I've dipped them. So we've dipped the doors to strip back the paint. And then you're just there for hours trying to like get them immaculate. And I sort of had a breakthrough yesterday that we just weren't sanding hard enough. I think I left it to Lauren, and she was just had little feeble hands, and we just weren't getting enough.
Are you doing it by hand?
No, with a thingy.
Yeah.
But
okay.
we've got there now. They're going to be beautiful. The grain is incredible. It's they're like little zebras now. They look amazing. So looking forward to getting into that. 3 doors, absolute. It's so hard, mate. You barely make a dent in it. Then we tried to paint upstairs, but it's like a way darker paint. So cutting in on it, if you don't cut in just perfectly, it just looks like a 4-year-old did it. So yeah, absolute nightmare situ all over the.
How shit is painting? I actually think
mate, I think for this bit I might do as you said and get someone in, get a Picasso with the painter and decorator in.
They've just got all the little tricks, and have you seen these spray guns that they do now as well? Jump on TikTok and have a look.
Oh, spray guns as well.
Yeah, they just come in and go tss, and just spray the walls. It's done in like 30 seconds. Whereas you'll spend like 2 weeks painting.
I'll spend literally
covered in shit.
Have you, Ryan? You might have come across this. Have you seen that's the new trend? I mean, it's been a few years, but with makeup for presenters. So on broadcasting, it used to be you do it by hand. Now they just come in with a gun. So you literally, I know it sounds insane. They come up, spray you, and then you're ready to go on air.
Well, we'll get on to your weekend. That's obviously what's happened to you, Max. I don't really care about the rugby. I just want to know more about DIY. I need to get down and help you out. I genuinely think I'm going to look at a day where I can book in next week, come down and give you a hand, because it actually excites me, the DIY stuff. Like I want like a. Have we got any walls to knock down or any like sort of?
Not yet.
Yeah, anything to build yet?
Nah, it's just at this point it's just sanding the banister, the doors,
and the painting. You're like, I'm gonna sit out this stage.
It's the gentle touch. It's the finesse.
Guys, we've got to be careful that we're not turning into a DIY and golf pod, which is effectively
Why?
Well,
I think that's what the people want.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. Yeah, get in and come and ask us a question such as, would you like to stop talking about DIY and golf? Ryan, how was your weekend? You were doing some very fun commentating. I saw some fun things on Friday night for the kids' day of the URC, right?
That's right. It was kids round for the URC. It was actually brilliant. Like looking back at it and looking at all the stuff from all the kids. They had like chocolate coins doing the coin toss. They had kids interviewing coaches. They had the kids interviewing players. It was the little fella up at Edinburgh. I did Edinburgh versus Zebra. Real thriller. But they had a little fella called Luca, and he was so good. Honestly, like, where do they find these kids? Because he was so confident and so
very
good.
media trained.
Wait, hang on.
This guy's really good at his job.
His first question to Darcy Graham: what's it like being short?
Yeah, I know, but that was the problem, because all the stuff before was really organised, and he'd obviously had a little bit of training. He had him interviewing Sean Everett, and even at the end of the Sean Everett interview, Sean Everett puts his hand out to shake his hand, and he gives him the microphone and walks off. The kid just does that, absolutely roasts Sean Everett, just walks off the thing. I was dying, but interviewing the players, like getting straight in their heads as well. Ali Price, how do you think your box kicks are going to go today? And you can see Price, he was like, I don't want to say they're going to be good because they might be shit. Ended up they were like, chuck him on your shoulders. So chucked him on my shoulders, and we were interviewing players at the end of the game with him on my shoulders. But it was pretty special. I played some golf last week. Played Archfield, very nice course. Of course, we got to keep up. But do you know the problem is, boys? The more golf you play, the shitter you get. I reckon. I'm getting worse.
It definitely doesn't work like that. 100%. It doesn't work like that. That's not how. You haven't got the guys out there winning majors going, how good am I first time round?
No, I'm pretty sure that's happening. Another big news. Do you want to hear some more big news? Frank has started potty training. God help me.
So shit. Oh, he's just running around. They're just pissing everywhere.
No, but to be fair, I think I started it because he was like...
You're pissing everywhere?
Well, no, I said to him, look, this is how you do it. And I pissed in the garden, like up against the bush. And then he wanted to do it. Well, that's it. Now he's just just walking around pissing in the garden, and that's it. He's
sorry,
big
you've
boy
dog
fan.
trained Frank.
Yeah, pretty much dog trained my child, but he's not had one accident yesterday. He's been straight onto it. So first day of potty training for the big man. But that's going to be brutal. That Max, think about worrying about all your own shit, having to worry about his shit. Quite literally, is going to be hell for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was at a Beats and Cancer charity dinner in the week as well. Roy Keane, the speaker, very good. He was awesome. So it's been a busy old week for me, boys. Absolutely no sort of money making in it. Just a lot of fun, which we're eating into the
charity dinners.
Wholesome
face.
We are eating into the savings, that's for sure.
Oh no.
But with a smile on your face, that's the most important.
Well, that's it. Yeah, wholesome weekend with the family, beautiful. But now I need to get back to work, so I watched a fair bit of rugby at the weekend as well.
Well, let's crack into the rugby. I think that's probably the best thing to do.
Before we move on, what have you been up to this weekend? Because even some people are sliding into my DMs going, "Is Mark okay? What is he doing?"
It's not unusual. It's just a little side fun for the weekends. So yeah, still BBC. Still have to go up to there today. But Speedway with Warner Brothers Discovery. Have you ever watched Speedway, boys?
No.
I think I actually have. Well, I've seen it. You know when you flick through the TV channels, this is where they basically drift the motorbike around a muddy track.
There's no brakes on these motorbikes. They effectively have the acceleration of a Formula One car, and it is the loudest thing I've ever been to. And we were in the heartland of the sport. It is the national sport, as far as we can tell, in Poland. 55,000 people at the national stadium going absolutely fucking nuts. And the reason I'm doing it, and even how the casting went, was I was very honest. I was like, look, I'm not going to pretend. Guys, I've never watched it. Don't know a thing. They went perfect. That's exactly what we want. We need you for 3 hours in the metaverse to just talk for 3 hours with an expert who's actually a really good guy and help me out. And yeah, they are into it. I mean, it's a proper event, boys, but also because we're all access, we go and speak to the riders. We're in, the paddock. We're then in the field. We're then on the racetrack, all this stuff. If you get in the way of a Polish fan trying to watch his Speedway, they push you out of the way.
That's nice.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And then they're like, they look at you like, what the fuck is wrong? Even though we're like a camera crew and like the lights and everything, they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And then to be fair, they've got a very good point. They've paid their money. They should be able to see the racing and not be obscured by a camera crew. So...
Well, I jumped into the metaverse and I tried to come and see you. I had no idea what was going on. I was just walking around a room for ages, but I did see some fireworks and it was wonderful. But that you literally just described what you do on here. You come on, you have zero fucking idea about rugby. The only bit that's not true, the only bit that's not true is you're not with two complete professionals that know everything about the sport. You're with a couple of fucking morons, but. Well, Mark, it's nice to see you, but please don't leave us for Speedway.
No. It's a cheeky weekend thing. We've got one in Prague in a couple of weeks, and then it's just a bit. It's good fun, and they're piling money into the metaverse, guys. So it is the future.
Let me come with you.
It is, guys. If they can transpose this, so genuinely, Max, they are putting this because they own the rights to everything: Champions League football, the rugby internationals, the Prem. And you know what? They're testing it out in Speedway. If it works down there, do not be surprised that you'll have a metaverse crew at your halftime team talk. In the locker room. And that's what people are looking. Or the camera. You can be your own director. You can look at the camera. At the moment, you can look at the pit crews. You can do the aerial drone in the stadium. Or the match officials, whatever. They'd just be staring at the bench. There'd be a camera at the bench, and people could just be like, "Oh, I wonder what Max is up to." We could watch Max when he comes off the pitch. And then is sat down. We could just watch him.
This is the Facebook-owned metaverse we're talking about.
It is
It's
no. Well,
there's loads of different metaverses.
Metaverse. This is Warner Brothers' own Speedway metaverse. So it's an individual app. You just download the app from the App Store, and then you're in the metaverse, and then you just go around. It's got loads of. You basically just walk around and pick what you want to watch, pick who you want to see, and all that stuff. So.
Loads of weird blokes at home, VRs, no pants on,
Yeah. So
that is exactly that is what Mark is
it's
into.
on your phone.
No, that's what Mark is into. Mark is into VR headsets, no pants.
I'm not walking around with a fucking VR headset touching myself, okay? It's
Right.
it's as much
Shall
as
we move on?
they didn't take any of my suggestions at the initial brainstorming session. That we're yeah, it is pretty good. But anyway, enough. We've done right.
Max, have Bristol fucked it?
Well, our destiny's out of our hands now, sadly.
Is that right? Yeah, explain it to us.
I think so. I think we can only control what we control. So we have to go to Quins, win with 5 points, not give them anything. And then a few fixtures have to fall our way, essentially. I think Sale have to. Yeah,
Sale,
sadly. So here we are, gents.
But Sale are away to Saracens. Let's whilst we're at that very point. So that would take a monumental effort, and Saracens will want that home. And technically, Saracens are booked into they are booked into the playoffs, but might not necessarily get a home one, so they've got a lot to play for. So that one, it's Exeter away at Leicester, potentially with Leicester nothing to play for, right? That is the one that could really outdo, put a spanner in the wheels for you guys, sadly. But right, in any case, that's the explanation of how things stand. You're out of the top four at the moment. I mean, the game as a whole, it started so well, though, right?
It did, but ultimately we were sort of crushed by that Saracens crucible, and sort of they fed off our mistakes, which was a large part of that was the scrutiny of their defence, and then off turnover ball they're lethal. Like, they are very lethal. They score, I think they've scored the most tries in the league off turnover ball. So they've come and hit their straps well, like at a good time in the season. So mate, it's tough. Mate, they're Saracens. It's that time of the season. I think they play the game within the game very well. They were just a lot cuter, cannier with the rules. And we just made some mistakes. Made too many mistakes.
Was there a feeling, though, you say sort of cannier with the rules and all that? They were effective and cynical in
but they've always been that way, haven't they? Like, there's so much IP in that team. You look around it, like, they're all talking, like Jamie, Owen, Marrow, Ben. They're all sort of talking like there's another game they're playing on top of the rugby. That's what makes them so difficult to play. They're such like cerebral rugby players in that way. They're sort of working on the ref, working on how everything's perceived. It's quite brilliant, really, actually.
Do you know my favourite thing from the game, the whole game, is right at the beginning when you boys score and Joe Batley, bless his little cotton socks, he gets up and he looks like the happiest man alive to have scored. He also looks equally as shocked to have scored. He's like, I've done it! I've done it!
Yeah, like pops up like a champagne cork, doesn't he? Just like one of those whack-a-moles. Yeah, it's mad.
But it is. And like, even when everyone's running away from him, he's going, great work, guys. Oh, mate, I actually loved it. I was looking at him thinking, what a bloke,
like
what a bloke. But
head tape on.
even, Max, even when they went down, they got those 2 yellows. There must have been a bit, like, even when I was watching, I was thinking, this is it, surely. This is when Pat's boys start to pull it back and find a way into it. But even with 2 yellow cards, I think you scored during that, but they still managed to control the game pretty well with 2 yellows, didn't they?
Yeah, mate, I just thought, like, tactically, with the way the game was going, what they were doing was working so well. Yeah, mate, it was tough. Like, psychologically, they looked more bright-eyed and bushy-tailed than the large parts of the game as well. I thought, like, we just looked a little flat for too much of it, do you know? Especially against a team like that, you need to be sort of on it psychologically. So, sadly, it is what it is.
More importantly, much forward and back, much shit chat from Benno, anything from anyone like Farrell?
No.
Boys giving you any?
No one gave me. Maybe me and Theo Dan. He kept tackling me, so I had a few carries. Most of them running into Theo Dan or Ben, but it was mostly Theo. But I managed to ask Billy V about Tasergate. That was quite fun. So I was speaking to him about it. I was like, so what's it feel like? It's like, yeah, not too bad. Eh? It was like a really bad complex. I was like, yes. So, Mark, do you know what a complex is? It's like this. You basically put it on your muscles. It's like an electric pad, and it sort of involuntarily contracts your muscles for you.
Oh yeah, I had one of those for the old 6-pack ones, the Cristiano Ronaldo 6-pack. You just sit there and have a beer.
Exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. And he was like, yeah, it was like a really bad complex. I was like, fair play. You absolute Godzilla of a bloke.
Yeah, can we? Sorry, but let's put a public service announcement though that Billy Vunipola getting tasered is not any of you listening getting tasered or me getting tasered. I think we would take it a lot worse.
It's a different sort of specimen. He laughed at it. He laughed at the feebleness of the tool. Great footage.
Mate, wait, hold on. Tell me that was during the game. Tell me that was in Iraq.
No, it was after. That would have been funny. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's what I can imagine it to be like. But you know when you overdo the complex, because it like there's like the disuse atrophy where it like pump, and then it gives you a
yeah. I reckon it's like that, just the full one of those. But because of the voltage, it's probably like full body. That's why you always see them do that thing where they like, when you see a guy like running and he gets hit by a taser, they just do that wing. Like the penguin.
Yeah.
Fair play to Sarries. Just sort of going, let him carry on playing. Like, let's just get this over and done with. That's the way things like that should be dealt with. Just get it done, let him play next week, and it all can be forgotten. Whereas so many clubs and so many teams would just drag that through the dirt.
Down. He has a written spoken warning.
Yeah, banning people and letting it go on forever and just dragging it out. So
maybe if it was someone else, it would be different. The man's put a constellation on the damn jersey. He's been pretty impactful and integral to all of Saracens' success. So.
Plus, those Spanish police are complete arseholes.
They're taking money.
They're zealous. Yeah, I bet you. Have you been on the wrong end of a Spanish Inquisition? Right? Have you? Went to Barcelona, had a few too many in Madrid. And
they're on the scan for the stag do's always. Like I've been on a stag, but then another stag, and they were just waiting for something to go wrong. Then it's like.
Let's do some
in the back
beating.
and give me some, give me some dosh.
I get it. Brits abroad, there's some disgraceful people.
The worst. We've got a terrible reputation.
But equally, the Spanish police, you wankers, leave us alone.
Chicken or egg, like I think that, very good. We are dreadful human beings, but just let us be.
You imagine Mark in his Spurs shirt on a stag do getting tasered.
Fake tattoos on his arm.
Just down in Benidorm.
Just tripling himself.
But even on our flight back from Warsaw, it's like an 11 a.m. flight back and there's a stag group. And you're like, guys, it's Sunday morning. You've probably hit it pretty hard, I'm assuming, since Wednesday or whenever you got there. And they're on the whiskey cokes at 11. And then they're chirping the attendants through the whole thing, and you're like,
"Oh, pot kettle, hold on, don't do it,
it's just awful."
It's just when you were a bit. I'm like, it's early doors. This is early.
You've never done that, Mark. I can imagine you've never done that.
Great guy. What can I say?
You don't get those on the PJ, baby. Anyway.
Right. So anyway, I feel like we let's not overdwell on Bristol, because it isn't over. Right. That's the main thing. Over. Right. It is. It's not over. Exactly. Yet. It's going to take a monumental effort, but an effort that isn't out of your grasp. Let's not forget, you're the only team that hit that run this year, right? And the points that you put on the board and everything mentally, you do what you do, and then let everybody else worry about what
all one can do. All one can do. In the great words of Gandalf.
Well, it could be worse. You could be Gloucester.
You're going to go straight in, poor old. I mean,
what's
thoughts? Yeah, boys, seriously, what is your thought from a professional angle, guys? Firstly, not from a Gloucester fan angle, or we've got we got pals in the team and everything. What do you think professionally when you see that?
Rugby's fucked. The Prem's fucked.
No, I'll be honest. The worst bit about all of that is at 89 nil down, going for 3 points.
It's sort of like trying not to have to get like 7-balled when you're playing. You're like, well, I don't want to get 7-balled here, so I better not. Yeah.
Now I've joked about stuff like that on the bus after games, you know, where you're like, oh boys, what about 60, 70 minutes where we were still 0 on the board and we were about to take the points. Like, I've joked about that. I didn't think anyone would actually do that. I couldn't believe they went for the 3 points.
Were you really anti that? Were you like, I mean, don't miss it. That's the first thing. Don't be missing it.
What, like, that's probably the worst bit of it all. Like, forget about everything else. You can't be looking to take 3 points just to make it less bad. That's shocking. Well, you can't do that.
Therefore, I had a question when I saw that, because you mentioned, you know, getting 7-balled. You're mentioning the pool, standard rules, 7-balled, round the table with your trousers off, right? Is there a similar thing in rugby where if you get nilled over 50 points, back in the dressing room, got to be trousers off round the table?
Flaming arsehole.
Next season, you get your P45 handed out.
That's the other option.
Some of us, exactly. Some of you would.
Oh, boys, it was brutal, wasn't it? But I have heard they were, everyone in that match day 23 was made to do the flaming arsehole. So flaming ring of fire, where they put the tissue roll between their arse crack and set it on fire. But I'm not. Again, you look back at that team. There's still a fair few players that played in one of the most important games of their season, which was Benetton a couple of weeks before in the semi-final. And I think there was 8, 9, 10 maybe players from that game that were still playing in this. So it wasn't like it was a complete bomb squad. There was Albert Tuasui, you had Ludlow in there. You still had a majority of some of the backs. Atkins, Varney was playing at 9. So it wasn't a complete bomb squad. So that's what just blew me away. The fact that, but let's not forget, Northampton are fucking firing on all cylinders at the moment, and they're looking pretty dangerous. Listen to this: the ball carry meters for Northampton 1,125 meters compared to 155. 20 line breaks compared to 2. It was just miserable, absolutely miserable for them all day. Like, they just couldn't get into it. So there'll be a factor of that. But 90-0, doesn't matter how good a team are in the Premiership when you're playing in the same league with players of that calibre. Shocking.
I mean, that's been the take even from, it seems like, ex-players and people across the different socials. The Gloucester fans who have got, you know, isn't there shouldn't there be a call for reimbursing, you know, that sort of thing where the guys have gone across and you're watching that. It's just, it's difficult, isn't it, really?
If Gloucester has scored like 20 points at the end, would it have been as bad?
I don't know. It's pretty bad, man.
Is it the 90? Is it the 90 or is it the 0?
They're both.
It's the 90, isn't it?
But the 90 and then the 0 is the cherry on top, isn't it? It's just that's just mental. Obviously now Gloucester fans calling for Skivington Brownie's head, etc. That's tough. Is it?
Yeah, but was he wrong? Sorry, guys, was he wrong to do what he did?
Well, he's obviously got his eye on the final, hasn't he? That's what's going on.
Yeah, but the final's not for another 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, there's no way to put the lipstick on this pig, then, is there? Is there, Ryan?
I don't think there is. I don't know. Listen, all for chopping and changing the team and doing what you can, but I don't think it's his fault. I think ultimately, like I just said, there was 8, 9 players from the match squad the week before. There's plenty of guys in there that are expected to do a job. 90's pretty poor, and like we said, Max, you were part of a team that did that to someone else recently. Once everything starts going wrong, it goes really wrong. But 90 is pretty shocking. So you talk about momentum going into big games. That can't have done him any favours coming up to the Benetton game.
We've discussed that.
Put him in a weird place.
Well, that's the thing. We've talked a bit before. Do you prefer if you'd been picked to pay in that game, would you have taken it easy because there's the final? But then, are you more likely to get injured?
No, not against Saints. Table toppers, That's a big game. That's a very big game. There's a lot at stake. Even like personally, there's a lot at stake there. There's a lot of like very good players you're up against. I think that sort of scrutiny should always bring out the best of players. But some days are days like that, and it just everything aligns in the wrong kind of way. It's just quicksand. You're in like the worst kind of, I don't know, prep. A few things start going wrong in the game. Subsequently, more things start going wrong. They get up for it more. And then it's a feeding frenzy. You're just in a goddamn pool of piranhas, and they're all in black and green and gold.
I did see something funny the other day on Twitter. Someone put, "Oh God, Lewis Rees-Zammit must be kicking themselves. Look now, Gloucester have got a Prem Cup and an EPCR final, whatever it is." You're like, what? What? You'd rather be there winning a Prem Cup and a fucking Challenge Cup final? No, I don't think so. I think he's all right. And I certainly think he's all right now. 90-0 at the weekend. Let's move on because we're hammering it, aren't we?
No, let's not.
Not good enough.
Yeah,
I think old Rees-Zammit's all right though, boys. For whoever that was on Twitter, I think he's okay.
Well, he did come out. He did an interview recently, and he said that he'd kind of done everything that he wanted to do in rugby as far as there was, and there was a lot of people hammering that, being like, "Well, you haven't won a World Cup, and you never won the Prem."
He's not winning a World Cup with Wales anytime soon. He's played in the Lions, been to the World Cup. He's done bits within the teams he's been in. Like, let's be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. And look at him now. I mean,
I think people took
a
that
different
out of
life.
context. Yeah.
Fair play. Right, let's go to a game that really, I think, surprising in how it unfolded between Exeter and Quins, where it was super tight, really, and then it really wasn't.
What's going on?
We see that one coming. Yeah.
At Sandy Park, eh? What are the Chiefs up to? I didn't see that happening. I thought Quins were going to get that done.
I know. So, well, we said it last week, didn't we? We completely wrote Exeter off, and I think I've done it every single week so far. I've written Exeter off and said, that they're not going to do it. But suddenly they're on a surge, and with the youngsters they've got in there, with some of the players they've got, Fawabuso was amazing again. Fisalau, far out. These guys, yeah, they're doing something good with all the players they lost at the beginning of the season. Exeter, you've proved me wrong. That's weird. I usually get everything so right.
Again, just thank you. They would have been the blessing of your cursed predictions coming back. They're like, oh, thank God he's written us off. I think we're finally going to do it because he writes it in every single week with Exeter. And because you've been writing them off, we don't tend to probably focus enough on that young squad and how well they've been doing. But Feu Boso, who was playing for producer Jim's Taunton Titans in National 1 last season, fast forward 12 months, he's an England international and potentially Prem Player of the Season, 9 tries. But yeah, seriously, he what a journey, right?
Ollie Slightholme's my guy, but yeah, unbelievable journey. Feu Boso, freak show athlete. We've absolutely hallmarked all his greatness this season. He's been really quite brilliant for them, but he's not the only sort of weapon they have at hand. Like obviously Greg Fisalau, Rassie Tuima, Ethan Roots, Vermeulen. There's a lot of savages in that team. Like you got your handful against a young, exuberant team. That's sort of the ceiling's so high for them as well, which is what's brilliant. Like I didn't think Rob Baxter anticipated that they'd be this effective already.
And
after removing
it's a young team, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's it. It's a young team and they're pushing. And you never know, boys. They could do something special towards the end of the season. Imagine they go on and get to a knockouts and then everything's to play for. By the way, anyone listening, if they think... I started to think that was people banging on the window at Max, but it's not. It's the tunes starting to tick over in the gym that you're sitting next to, I'm guessing, Max.
Yeah. I'm not sitting next to it. It's downstairs, but this building's sort of made of paper, unfortunately.
Harlequins, Max, will be sitting in almost a similar position to you. I mean, they are. It's fingers crossed, but they'll still be going into that cup final for them, that final round against Bristol, having to do exactly what you guys are having to do.
Indeed, so all is to play for. Both teams at the Stoop should be glorious. I can't wait for the hostilities.
But after that weekend, they've been knocked out of the semi-final of the Champions Cup. Things were going so nicely for Quins. They were up in the top 4, and suddenly it could just be a big end to the season where there's absolutely nothing to play for.
I know.
She's a cruel mistress, is the old rugby. She's a cruel mistress.
The league has been congested.
Right, well, let's take a quick break in the middle, if you will, until we head over for some URC chat, because I do want to get to our questions. Guys, there are some very funny ones. Thank you, as we said, to everybody. We're going to start with Nick. Right, Nick's safe word is Waitrose.
He's your mate. He's definitely your mate. He's 100% your mate if he's saying Waitrose. Best food shop around, but I can't shop there. It's too expensive.
Just very simple, Max. Rope flow. Why?
Rotational movement training. It sort of complements biomechanics. It replicates elements of throwing, running, punching. That is why I do it. But much more than that, it's very meditative. It gets you into the flow state and highly, highly addictive.
Perfect.
And there's an off season of Maul or Nothing coming where myself and Mark will be taking on some rope swinging with Max in our speedos. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to get my body in shape.
Next one, Andrew Upton. What's your safe word? Dip. Ask a question for the pod. Being you've only played in the safe pro era, what team would you have loved to have played for prior to 1995?
Oh, good question. I feel like Bath or Leicester if it was in the Prem. You'd be all right there. There's a few people with some decent hands.
Back in the Leicester when they had the letters. Adel Cardooni at scrum half and the Underwood boys. Yeah.
I would be going for someone more like was Stade Francais that mental back then, because it sounded like a good time off the field with a not for the owner, not for the going under the table. Yeah, I didn't want to do the bit where you go under the table and but I would have loved to be involved in that. Like when you heard who was it that came on and told us that story about Madonna
Ollie Phillips.
Madonna in the bath with them after the game.
Yeah, that's clean off. Yeah.
Right, James March. What's your safe word? Vitkunt? Oh gosh, I hope I haven't said something really shitty in South African. Apologies if that offends you. I don't know what it means. Quite like this one. Tackle, get cleaned out by, or bounced. From these three specimens, starting with you, Max, Bakis Bota, Shabal, and Jerome Kaino.
Oh.
Well, I have to pick who does what.
Who tackles you? Who cleans? Who do you get cleaned out by, and who do you bounce?
I reckon I'd take the tack from Bakis. Not ideal, obviously. There's no ideals candidate here. Just because in a clean out he might actually knock years off your lifespan. He does some funky stuff, a la Jimmy Cowan. Then we'll go with Jerome Kano on the clear out. I feel like he's a bit of a chiller there, maybe. I hope. God bless. I hope. 'Cause if he clears out like he tackles, we're in a lot of trouble there. And then I'll take the bounce by Shabal because it would just be a glorious souvenir to say it happened.
Ryan, same.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was going to get a different list of players, but I'm not
same list.
I'm not far off with Max there. The only thing with both of you can sort of control getting tackled, can't you? You can brace for it.
Yeah,
whereas imagine getting
cleaned out. You're over the board.
Out on the floor. Oh.
Yeah, no, that is a terrible idea.
Yeah, no MCLs or ACLs left after that. It would be hideous. And you're right, Shabal, you wouldn't mind getting bowled or even dragged up the field by that big fella. It would be lovely.
Quick one, the fine for the boys there from James. Ryan has to wear an England shirt for a whole episode, while Max has to try and speak like a normal human being for an episode.
I'm so down.
Hold on. How would Max...
What is a normal human being, though? That's what
that is it.
Right, Stephen Hewitt, whose safe word is Willy Sonny. Question for Max. Would you rather scrum Oxenchae for 5 straight minutes, fight Eben Epsobet for 5 straight minutes, or have Cheslin Colby run at you one-on-one open play 80th minute of a tied World Cup final? Brilliant question.
That is a good question. These are brilliant. Oh, that is difficult as well. I'm guessing he's going to go scrum. Because
I feel like I've got to. Otherwise, what sort of man am I? What sort of prop am I if I don't back myself in that sort of contest? Because Eben's probably got the reach on me. He'd be like that, that Jim Hamilton David Pace fight. He'll get the collar and those huge Afrikaner hands. He's just just speedballing me with his hand. And then obviously 80th minute against Chesney Colby, we know how that ends. It doesn't end well. Not for the big fellas. And then you're immortalized in Springbok lore as that dude who got absolutely done on the edge. So I'm taking Oxenche.
Then again, no one would expect any less getting stepped by Chesney Colby, especially in the 80th minutes. You might get a little bit more pity.
Yeah, it's between those two, maybe, actually. Yeah, you're right.
Because fighting a man with 3 arms in Ebenezer isn't fair either.
And
by 3 arms, you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, you don't need to... Do you want us to run a little subtitles as well across the show so people can understand what you're talking about?
I think there's some people that don't know what the third arm might be.
Fine, they can Google it, just don't do it at work. Question 2, Willisoni, would you rather go back and play in a World Cup semi-final or a Champions Cup final at Scotstoun?
Probably rather a World Cup semi-final. I think it's probably harder to have done. So World Cup semi-final for me.
Okay. We are going to skip your safe word dildo. Thank you. You didn't ask a question though. Oh, you did actually. You asked where these forms go to. Just chill, mate. We've got this under control. Elliot Lee, a very good question. How do you 3 come to know each other, and whose idea was it to start the podcast? So it was probably the best. Well, to start the podcast is we'd already done a little thing beforehand, and we decided to do our own thing, which we're very happy about. It's probably the best way. How did we 3 come together? I think we were do we say the brainchild of several years ago of a very good producer who felt that we would all work together. Right? We got put together on a sort of first date, wasn't it? To check whether we would work, the 3 of us, handpicked.
I don't remember that, by the way. That was so long ago. I don't remember that happening.
Because you guys had done a little bit each other on a Rugby Pass show before, hadn't you? And then I think they were trying mixing it up, and then they got handpicked.
I think it was the first time we did it was all 3 of us together, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. But that's when I was in the trial. Discussions, in the trial, they were like, we're trying to. They tried different threesomes, I think, and yours was the one that they wanted. So Perry, safe word, camel toe. Who wins in a knockout game? Laheef's Bears or Wilson's Warriors?
Oh, Warriors all day long.
Yeah.
That's
just such a no empirical evidence.
But I'm going with that.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Top of the league, Warriors right now, or Bristol Bears that are sat in 5th out of the top
weird league.
Brought it on me.
And then we've got JB saying, do you think the Challenge Cup and Champions Cup are the best format for the game to be played between clubs from different countries? What's your ideal comp would look like?
Obviously, there's most of the opposition comes from people saying South African team shouldn't be in it. Other than that, I'm all for the South African teams being in. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I think there's a way you can maybe tidy it up. I haven't got a clue how you do that, but tidy it up a little bit.
I think eliminating those sort of teams being able to put out sort of chill teams, and obviously a lot of teams have been playing each other again in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Not having more jeopardy
in a better way. Yeah.
I feel almost the old school where it was pretty much almost you had to win every game because it was knockout. Yeah, you had to go through.
Yeah. And now it's time to thank our day one sponsors, Wolf Craig Distillery, where you can find and purchase some of their finest alcoholic tipples at wolfcraig.com. Thank you very much to Wolf Craig and appreciate your support through these trying times. It's a burgeoning rugby podcast here at Maul or Nothing.
We're on the way up, baby.
Well, we are delighted to be joined now by Bulls back row star and Springbok star Marco van Staden. Marco, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. How you doing, mate?
No, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure for me as well. No, I'm all good. All good.
Are you a bit beaten up from the weekend? It was a tough old shift against my old team, Glasgow Warriors, mate. You feeling all right?
Yeah, no, all good. Body is sore. I haven't played in 6 weeks. It was the first one back, and what one to get back against Glasgow. So they always a physical side.
Who gave you this one? The missus or one of the boys?
I'll say it was in the game, but no. somewhere in a rock.
Right.
Was it a naughty one?
I actually don't know. It was someone's heel, so I don't actually know who it was.
Ryan, if you had to guess who it was, who would you say was most likely to have done this to Marco?
Oh, that's a good question. Looking across that back row, someone like Jack Dempsey. Someone like Jack Dempsey, I reckon, would be a little cheap shot with an elbow or something. But was it any back chat from the boys?
No, not much. Well, on the field, but nothing spectacular. So I think everyone was tired of the altitude and the heat. So there wasn't much talking.
Yeah, Marco, that's what I wanted to start with. Like, because we obviously talk about it a lot. You know, we come up there, and I know that the big sign as you're walking out of Loftus, it's like, 1,350 metres. It matters. It does matter for us. Do you guys see that as a huge benefit to be able to play at home? Because I know that there was plenty of chat in the week from Glasgow saying, we're going up there, it's going to be at altitude, it's going to be boiling hot. 2 o'clock in the afternoon kick-off? Yeah. It must have been pretty hot as well.
Well, it's colder now. It's starting to become winter, but for UK, compared to UK, it's still hot. So no, it's definitely for us if we use it correctly. But teams has also become clever, and how they can slow the game down and catch their breath, and because with the altitude it really plays a big role.
I did hear Jake White saying, a lot of their players, every time we got within 5 metres, were lying down on the floor. He said it in the post-match, the press conference afterwards.
Yeah, it's not just Glasgow. A few teams that played before, all of them using the same tactics. So we like to speed up and take the breaths away. But it is a good tactic, because when you know the guys are really injured or not, so.
Max, you ever played up that way? Have you ever played at altitude, Max?
No, that would be terrible. Like, Marco, when you got back from the UK, did it take a while to get used to it? Not really.
Yeah, it took about a month or a month and a half to get fully into it. But even if we go and play, say we tour now for 3 weeks, in Ireland and Scotland and Wales, and we come back, even the first week you can still feel it. You've been at sea level now for 3 weeks. You have to start climatizing back to altitude. I don't think it takes us that long, because we're used to it, but but even if
when you just get back, when you go away, just from a Loftus Versfield game, do you feel like a performance benefit from it? Like, do you feel like you've got
going down to sea level?
Yeah.
And especially from when it's summer by us and winter in UK, the colder temperatures and obviously sea levels. For me personally, it feels a bit better.
Yeah, dreamy.
Yeah.
Marco, we don't need you to be. You don't need to worry that Ryan's here. But be honest, was there an element? And I think it was said in the press a little bit that you guys let Glasgow off the hook a little bit by letting them get some bonus points at home. Particularly with how tight it is at the top in the table.
No, definitely. I think we were up 37-10. With just over 16 minutes to go, and they scored 3 very, very quick tries. So, gave them the bonus point with the 4 tries, and then at the end, giving them the penalty in the middle of the field, so for that second bonus point. So, now it is getting tight, and we want that home quarterfinals, semifinals, as Max said. Playing home with the altitude, it's a benefit for us. So if we can get that home quarters, home semis, and the finals is a different ball game. I think it's all or nothing. So I think it's getting really tight, top four. So I think those 2 points we gave them might come back later to get us.
Yeah, watching the game, it looked like the boys, the Glasgow team, caught you by surprise, because at that point in the game, you think, listen, these guys must be dead and buried. We're 60 odd minutes in. It's, they're going to start to tire now. The altitude's taking effect, but then suddenly they sprung into life. I know maybe it was probably a bit of poor defence on your guys' part, and I heard Jake White speaking about it afterwards, a lapse in concentration. But did it surprise you a bit? Because they did come back very quickly, 3 tries in 10 minutes.
Yeah, so obviously Glasgow's game plan throughout the whole URC is just tempo. It's like speeding everything up, especially there by them. So we were a bit in 2 minds what type of tactic they will come with. And in the beginning of the game, they slowed it down. So they didn't come with tempo, and we try and push the tempo, and it worked for us. And then, just silly mistakes, set piece errors, and defensive errors, and then got them back into the game. And then they just sprung, like you say, sprung into life and used every opportunity they got. Yeah,
it's one of those things, though, Marco. You're probably, as you say, it's so important for the South African teams to get those home knockout stage ties. Talk us through from the inside of because we all know what happened with the Champions Cup and coming across and the choices that were made. From your perspective, is it the right decision? Because looking at where you are in the top 4, you are gunning, trying to get those home spots. Has it been the right way to approach travelling and the 2 competitions?
Well, a lot of people will say probably no, because we lost against Northampton and the following week against Munster. But I think we just trust the coaches, and they obviously planned it way ahead. So whatever the plan is, they give to us. I think we all just buy in. So for us now to say it's the right or wrong decision, it's difficult, because if you buy into a coach's plan, it worked out. Then everyone said, no, it was a good plan. If it doesn't work out, it was a bad plan. So I think we just trust the coaches and their planning. And so
what was your taste of the Champions Cup experience, though? Is it something that you guys it's a different flavour to playing United Rugby Championship?
No, definitely. I think you play, because you play now against England clubs and French clubs. You travel new places, but it's for us, I think it's like the biggest club competition, well, probably there is. So it's a privilege playing in the Champions Cup. I played when I played for Leicester. It was also that was the first time I played in the Champions Cup, and it's massive. So I don't think in the beginning all of the young boys realized how big the Champions Cup is, but they quickly, when we played last year in the round of 16 to lose at Toulouse, they realized it's a big competition. So for us as a South African club that's previously just played Super Rugby and then this URC, it's a privilege playing in such a big competition.
You're almost uniquely placed to have appreciated a wide variety of the competitions, having played, as you said, obviously you've done Currie Cup, Super Rugby, and in the Gallagher Premiership and in the Champions Cup. Are you happy to be in the Champions Cup? Is that the sort of thing where you feel that it's a good home now for the South African teams?
I believe so. Yeah. No, I think it's a good competition. It was just Australia, New Zealand and South Africa. So and then Argentina came later, and Japan a bit later on with one team. But now it's just so many countries playing against each other and all around. So I think it's a very good competition for South African teams, and a competition that can go on for a long time. Yeah.
Max, I've got one for you. I was listening to a few bits on you, Marco, earlier on, and it says you've got any hidden talents. Guess what he loves doing, Max? He loves DIY.
Oh, God, but a fellow DIYer. I'm a terrible DIYer, Marco. I just moved into this house and I'm doing bits and bobs, and it's an absolute nightmare. It's a real pickle, but it's quite fun, isn't it? There's a real sense of satisfaction, and then you look at it and you're like, that's terrible. But you did it. You did it.
Is that the way you learn? If you do
Yeah,
it wrong.
exactly. It's so true. You just acquire so much so quickly.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah.
Boys, we're building up. Sorry, mates, we're building up a bit of a workforce here. I reckon we could have a pretty good little DIY workforce if we start combining tasks, get around to Max's house and give him a hand. But
Sorry,
I feel
are you
like
forcing Marco across to go and help
not?
and help
Get
paint
him in.
Max's new house?
Speaking of which, though, Marco, do you miss anything about the UK from your time at Leicester? Is there anything you miss?
The summers, the late sunset. Yeah, I say that was like we went fishing like until 9:30 in the evening. So yeah, I enjoyed
What's
that.
your fishing like? Oh,
Carp fishing and fly fishing as well. Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, nice. Bit of fun.
So you weren't limited by daylight, so they you just keep on fishing until just before 10 o'clock. So
Who was that? You and Jasper?
Eli Snyman.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you
So
think? What? So do you enjoyed your time over here? But like, it must be nice being back home. That's why you moved back. Was it it's for family, really? You've just mentioned earlier, we were talking off screen. You've got a newborn, well, 8 months old now. I suppose not newborn anymore. But that was the reason for getting back to the Bulls.
Yeah, so when we got back, the small one just didn't come along after that. The small one coming, like you said, she's 8.5 months now, and I'm massive for family. I've seen my parents come and watch every game every weekend that we play, sleep over, watch the small one. So yeah, for us, family is a big thing. And the group we have at the Bulls, I've known them since I started. So it's a nice group, and and being home with the small one, it's a privilege. Yeah.
I think that's exactly what we had Andre Esterhazen on as well last week, and he's obviously heading back to South Africa, and he was saying that with a new addition in the ranks in his household, having the family to help, because that's something that you guys being out here was probably a bit more isolating when you were at Leicester.
Yeah, so family is a long way, and some things that's just home. That you can't get overseas. So I enjoyed my time in England a lot. But yeah, like I say, I love our country and I love my family, my people. So being home and giving that experience to my daughter, I think it's I think she deserves it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Marco, you're from sorry, Mark, but you're from a farming background as well, aren't you? Is that right?
Yeah, so that's also why I said some things you can't buy. So I grew up my whole life on a farm. So I don't like Pretoria. I don't like the city. So after rugby, I'll be straight back to the farm. So, but yeah, the farm life is something special. Yeah, this side. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
If we can just turn our attention back a little bit, Marco, to this incredible experience that you had over in France last year. Summarise for us what it felt like to come into, into the setup as a whole, but also like how it was when it really was, the odds were almost stacked as much against you as they had been in 2019 at the previous World Cup.
Yeah, for me, just being part of the group was a massive privilege and honor, and just to experience the whole World Cup, and then I managed to play the four pool games. But even now, almost half a year later, it still feels like a dream. The 3 weeks, the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals they were crazy weeks. Winning by 1 point every week, and the amount of work and analyzing and prep going into those 3 weeks was massive. And to at the end get the trophy, but more than the trophy, just to see what's happening back home. So we were in France for just more than 2 months or overseas, and just seeing the excitement and things that's changing and developing in back home just because we won a World Cup. It was. I think that was the best part of it all. When we landed back at Joburg's International Airport, the amount of people were there, and the smiles and cheers and tears, and it was amazing. Yeah.
How good.
How much of Rassie seemed to draw upon a lot of that, as we've read and seen in some of the documentaries, to kind of bring that team together in 2019 to win the World Cup, of the fact that it's bigger than all of you. This is such a big moment. How was it kind of reliving there in 2023, so last year, and essentially knowing that it was still trying to unify the country, and it was still bigger than, the journey was bigger than everything that you could have imagined?
Yeah, so I think if you take motivation for all the teams, I think it's different, but everyone wants that on your CV, or wants to hold that World Cup. But for Rassie, just changed the whole perspective and said it's not about any of that. It's about people struggling in South Africa, and you giving a young boy on the streets that there's no food, no money. He knows rugby now, and he supports the Springboks, and you giving him a smile on his face and hope for another day. And it's millions of South Africans in the same boat, and it's not just the poor; it's the welfare as well. You getting into their hearts as well to start doing things for the rest of the country. So the thing we did is just hopefully have a snowball effect on the rest of the people of the country, just to help, because there's a lot of problems in our country, and the amount of positive work the World Cup has done, then you realize how much responsibility do you have on your shoulders, and I think that was just the whole motivation. I think that you don't need more motivation than that. Then you need to help 63 million people back home.
I think that's from our perspective, boys, isn't it? When we've had the guys on, when we've had Scout, Brits, or when Brian Habana was on, and it's so clear the motivation that you guys have, and it's almost quite hard to be an opposite fan of that, as in to not be South African, and because part of you also wants that kind of that change for good that a lot of the other countries aren't necessarily playing for.
Yeah. I remember the two liaison officers. They were French. They came back with us to do the trophy tour on the bus, and at the end, obviously we went through poor and very rural areas, and where people they really struggle, and the amount of joy they saw on those people's faces when we drove past with the trophy, and if you just wave to someone, and at the end they said they are so happy South Africa won the trophy, because they could see it now firsthand how happy people are with, and they have nothing. They have absolutely nothing. They probably only have the clothes on their body, and the amount of happiness that they showed us just from driving past, just for 10, and actually just seeing us for 10 seconds. And yeah, they just said as well, they're so happy. South Africa won the Currie Cup, having witnessed it firsthand.
That's pretty special, isn't it? And like, if you need a driving factor to go and do it again, and three times in a row, then you've got that to lean on and weigh in on. Just a word on Rassie. What's he like as a coach? Because Andre was in here. Was that last week? It was only last week after they got knocked out, and he mentioned that they had like made up fake plays and left them behind in the hotels and stuff at France, just in case anyone picked them up. He's a big thinker, isn't he, Rassie? He's got a lot about him.
Yeah, I don't think he's 2 steps ahead. I think he's five steps ahead of everyone. He's a mastermind in rugby. I think he's just, like we said, the same motivation we have. I think he has the same. That's why he's so clever, and he goes the extra mile, and he thinks outside of the box, because it's for South Africa. So and that's, I think that's what makes him so good as well, because he just does everything for the country. Yeah.
But it's bizarre, Marco, because when we have some of the former Springboks on, they call him Coach Rassie, which I find quite sort of amusing that he's not their coach technically at the very moment, but it's almost like he's just the symbol of South African rugby and South African hope.
Yeah, no, you can ask anyone on the streets. It will be Coach Rassie. So, yeah, no, what he's done and I believe what he's going to do still is massive for the country and for South African rugby.
We were together about a year, maybe just over a year ago, Marco, and we were in a room. It was with yourself and Salman Murat and who else did we have?
Stephen
Kitsoff, right? And we had a sort of very, very funny afternoon, messing about, doing all sorts of little things, which was very enjoyable. Fast forward to now, could you have seen that experience at the time? You know, could you have envisaged going through what is a kind of ridiculous emotional journey that you've been on?
No, probably not. No, I think when we were there, probably not my wildest dreams. Yeah, no, the whole journey and everything. Yeah, it was a roller coaster of up and down.
Just Marco, again for me, just listen to some of the stuff you've spoken about. Like, what do you love most about the game in terms of what you play? Because it's quite funny. You've obviously got backs that say, the finesse of stuff, but by the sounds of it, you just like the confrontation. You just like the tackles. You like the hitting people, the rucks, that sort of stuff. Is that true? Is that true? What I've heard you say?
Yeah, no, definitely. No, that's my favorite part of the game. I think will always be. Yeah. No,
if you just create like 23 of those, then teams are going to be in trouble. People that just love smashing things. And I've not actually watched it yet, Chasing the Sun 2, but you hear about what Rassie wants from his players, and he wants warriors, and that is effectively what he wants to build. He wants to build warriors that will go out there and just put their body on the line and have no care for themselves. Like that. Would you say you pretty much had 36 of those in a World Cup squad?
Yeah, like Rassie will always say that if you're not a warrior, you won't be in his team. So, yeah, if he that's what he wants. He wants to you must put your body out there for your team and for again the country. Yeah.
It always helps when they're always the size of you, though. Fuck, man, like it's just not fair. Like, what is it? What is it in the water over there that's making you boys so big? Because Max would fit in over there, but I probably wouldn't.
Probably we meat every night. I don't know.
Is that genuinely? Are you steak every night? Is that what you're eating?
Well, not steak every night, but we you probably know braai. So we braai about minimum three to four times a week. So. Yeah, it's either lamb, vorst, steak. Even if it's chicken, we braai it. So we try and braai everything.
Start early. Yeah, and the kids out there start early on the red meat.
Early. Yeah. And my daughter is 8.5 months and she already ate steak. So.
There it is.
What is it? What are they called? Is it Dryvorst? The Dryvorst as well. Oh, you can't beat it.
Brewers.
She eats biltong as well. Yeah.
That's how you get nice masseters as well. Oh, that's the way. That is the way.
So no, she started young as well. So she eats biltong. Yeah. So
amazing. And oh, by the way, I just want to know, and this is definitely not your daughter, but your typical choice, brandy and coke, I'm guessing, because otherwise you wouldn't be South African.
Actually, not. Either beer or whiskey and water.
Whiskey and water, real purist.
It brings out the flavour in the whiskey. So
I've learned to drink whiskeys from my grandfather. So I'm more whiskey or beer. Yeah.
There you go. Because Franco Smith pretty much banned the boys. We heard a couple of stories when over in South Africa. He banned the boys from wearing flip-flops and drinking brandy and coke.
Yeah, because we wear flip-flops everywhere.
And he was getting annoyed that boys were getting injuries and basically just drinking too much brandy and coke. That was the rumours.
Yeah, there's no shortage of that. Yeah.
Sorry, guys, I've literally I'm trying to. On that note, Mark, I'm fully aware you've got to go in to get back to your fatherly duties, and we really, really appreciate you coming on and having a quick chat with us. Best of luck for the rest of the season. Let's hope for a Bulls Glasgow Warriors final, perhaps. You know, on some. It will be great. And then you'd have the goodness of seeing Ryan Wilson as well, so it will be great for you. But good luck for the rest of the season, and we will catch up with you very soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Max and Ryan.
Well, Marco, fully aware that you've got your fatherly duties to get back to, but a huge thank you from all of us, and good luck for the rest of the season. Hopefully, Glasgow Warriors versus Bulls, maybe in the final. Boys, quick one on the retirement of an All Black great in the shape of their captain, or Sam Cane with 95 caps. Fabulous innings, eh?
Salute to any man who dons the black and gets that many caps is some kind of athlete. Fair play to him. Hell of a career. Seems like an absolute top man as well.
Maybe I think in different ways, boys, but I couldn't finish on 95. I would have to try and drag out for 100. That's all I'm saying.
He can still. He could.
Yeah, but I think he's been told. Yeah, but he's been told. I think
he's out, so now he's going.
It's not. It's probably they're going another way.
Yeah. I don't care. I'll be clinging in there saying, no, hold on, let me get to 100, because imagine 95. It was like who was it?
Bomb.
Mike Phillips, wasn't he stuck on 99 or something? Including his Lions caps. He was 99. Imagine being on 99. I mean, 49 was bad enough, and then I managed to cheat my way in for the 50th. But still, anyway, let's not take away from, fuck me, what an incredible career. What a way, Wilson, to just put a downer on someone's 95 All Black cap career.
But you say that, but think how harsh it is.
95.
Adam Jones, yeah. But think how harsh it is that when I can't remember whether I saw it on social media, but it was like favourite Sam Cane moment. A big sort of tribute of 95 caps, an amazing captain, all this. What was your favourite Sam Cane moment? And the top hit, when Peter O'Mahony said to him, "You're just a fucking shit Richie McCaw."
Peter, go back to your garden.
I mean, and that's the one that went up the algorithm right at the top of the first comment. You're like, come on, lads, not on. That's just, is it the day for that?
Here's a weird one. Every time I'm out like doing gardening now, right, I think of weird things like creating a bit of content, like just sending it over to Peter O'Mahony, like trimming the bush and things like that.
Trimming the bush.
Is that weird?
I don't think weird. No, I think that's on point.
Now, for anyone that listens, or either of you that go out and cut the grass now, I think I've put it in your mind now that you'll just think of Peter O'Mahony when you cut the grass.
No, Ryan. Every time I mow my lawn and I see a weed, I freak out. I'd be like, Peter's looking down on me. Disgusted. He is disgusted. My lawn's not bad, but it's no O'Mahony lawn.
Now that you've got a house,
an
Max,
evergreen velvet carpet. What?
Have you got somewhere for us to come and stay now?
Yeah,
can you come over and do podcasts again.
Anytime you like, Ryan, but not for too long.
Yeah. You got to put that disclaimer in, mate. Every time, so you never know.
Yeah, lads, you're more than welcome.
Oh, I'm very excited.
I'd be honoured.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's it. Is that where we're at? Like, just one thing I've got to say is the Blues top in the Super Pacific Rugby League. Like, Cole Forbes, my old mate Forbes, Uncle Colin, what a bloke. Left Glasgow, is now playing for them, carving it up. I'm pretty sure Scotland is sniffing around again, trying to get him back, but touting him for the All Blacks, boys. Cole Forbes.
Fair play. Well, sadly, that's all the time we do have left for this week. A huge thank you to Ryan and Max, as always, and to Marco as well, and to you all for listening or watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends to subscribe. And go and check out our YouTube channel. Lots of our shorts are on there, lots of extra content. So do subscribe to that. But we will see you all next week.
Peace, baby.
Ta-ta.
More or nothing.